Built to Rise: Success Principles for Melanated People and People of African Descent, written by Langston E. Hughes. Chapter 6: Confidence Without Permission. Confidence grows when action proves identity. Many people are waiting to feel confident before they begin. They are waiting to feel ready before applying, waiting to feel worthy before charging, waiting to feel accepted before speaking, waiting to feel educated enough before teaching what they already know, waiting to feel healed enough before building, waiting to feel chosen before walking into the room, waiting for a title, a degree, a partner, an elder, an institution, an audience, a supervisor, or a stranger to confirm what their spirit has been whispering for years. But confidence often does not arrive before action. Confidence usually arrives after evidence. You do the thing once and the mind says, maybe I can. You do it again and the mind says, I have seen this before. You practice, study, fail, return, improve, and finish, and eventually the mind says, this is who I am becoming. For melanated people and people of African descent, confidence is not a decorative quality. It is a survival skill, a leadership skill, an economic skill, a parenting skill, a spiritual skill, and a community-building skill. The world may not always mirror back your value accurately. Some rooms may underestimate you before you speak. Some institutions may require proof beyond what others are asked to provide. Some people may confuse your humility with weakness or your clarity with arrogance. If your confidence depends entirely on outside permission, it will rise and fall according to unstable hands. You need a confidence that can work without applause, not arrogance, not performance, not insecurity covered in volume. Confidence: the quiet inner agreement between identity, preparation, and action. Confidence is built, not bestowed. Some people imagine confidence as something certain people naturally have. They look at a speaker, business owner, artist, athlete, teacher, leader, or elder and assume they were born that way. Usually they were not. What looks like confidence is often repeated exposure. It is practice. It is correction survived. It is embarrassment outgrown. It is a skill performed so many times that the body no longer treats it as danger. It is evidence stacked over time. Confidence is not bestowed by the world. It is built through relationship with yourself. Can you trust yourself to prepare? Can you trust yourself to return after failure? Can you trust yourself to tell the truth? Can you trust yourself to keep promises? Can you trust yourself to learn what you do not know? Can you trust yourself to survive being seen? Can you trust yourself to stand in a room where you are not immediately understood? Self-trust is the root of confidence. Many people do not lack confidence because they lack talent. They lack confidence because they have broken too many promises to themselves. They said they would study and did not. They said they would save and did not. They said they would leave the unhealthy situation and did not. They said they would finish the project and did not. They said they would take care of the body and did not. Over time, the mind begins to doubt the mouth. The way back is not self-attack. The way back is small kept promises. Keep one promise today, then keep another tomorrow. Let confidence grow from evidence. The permission trap. The permission trap is the belief that you cannot move until someone else authorizes your becoming. Sometimes permission is formal and necessary. You may need a license to practice medicine, law, therapy, accounting, construction, or another regulated profession. You may need certification, training, a permit, a contract, or legal clearance. Respect that. Wisdom does not ignore structure, but many people are not waiting on legal permission. They are waiting on emotional permission. They are waiting for family to understand. They are waiting for friends to clap. They are waiting for strangers to validate the idea. They are waiting for a supervisor to notice. They are waiting for a partner to stop being insecure. They are waiting for a room to make them comfortable. They are waiting for a sign that costs them nothing. The permission trap is dangerous because it turns your future into a committee decision. People who have not studied your assignment should not have final authority over it. People who benefit from your smallness should not get veto power. People who fear their own gifts may not know what to do with yours. People who love you but think from survival may mistake your growth for danger. People who have never built what you are building may call your vision unrealistic because they have no evidence in their own life. Listen to wise counsel. Seek correction. Study the field. Respect elders with fruit on the tree. But do not confuse every opinion with authority. Not everyone who loves you can see you clearly. Not everyone who criticizes you is qualified. Not everyone who doubts you is discerning. Not everyone who rejects you is a gatekeeper. Confidence without permission means you learn to move from purpose, preparation, and wisdom instead of waiting to be emotionally approved. The proof list when confidence is low, the mind forgets evidence. It remembers failure more easily than progress. It remembers embarrassment more vividly than courage. It remembers who rejected you but forgets who you helped. It remembers the one unfinished project but forgets the many times you showed up under pressure. That is why you need a proof list. A proof list is a written record of evidence that you are capable, resilient, disciplined, creative, useful, and growing. Include hard things you survived, skills you learned, problems you solved, people you helped, promises you kept, jobs you completed, money you earned honestly, debts you paid, classes you finished, times you apologized and changed, times you started again, times you were afraid and moved anyway, times you protected your family, times you chose discipline over impulse, times you created something from little. Do not make the proof list only about awards. Awards are not the only evidence. Sometimes the proof is that you kept children fed during a difficult season. Sometimes the proof is that you learned a new system at work without help. Sometimes the proof is that you stopped a family pattern. Sometimes the proof is that you lived through grief and still showed up. Sometimes the proof is that you did not become what tried to break you. Write the proof down. Read it when the mind begins to lie. Confidence needs memory. Real-world example. Mae Jemison. Dr. Mae Jemison offers a powerful picture of confidence joined to preparation. She was trained as an engineer and physician, served as a Peace Corps medical officer in Sierra Leone and Liberia, and was selected by NASA for the astronaut program in 1987. In September 1992, she flew aboard Space Shuttle Endeavour on STS-47, a mission that completed 127 orbits of Earth. It would be easy to reduce her story to a first. Firsts matter, but they can also hide the preparation behind the moment. Jemison did not arrive in space by wishing. She studied. She trained. She developed medical, technical, linguistic, cultural, and scientific capacity. She built a life large enough to carry the opportunity when it came. Her example teaches that confidence without permission is not reckless self-belief. It is trained readiness. Imagine how many rooms she had to enter where people may not have expected someone like her. Imagine how much internal steadiness was required to pursue science, medicine, engineering, international service, and spaceflight. Imagine the discipline required to keep expanding when the world has a habit of narrowing people before it knows them. The lesson is not that every person must become an astronaut. The lesson is that confidence grows when imagination is matched by preparation. If you want to enter a new room, prepare for the room. If you want to be trusted with responsibility, develop the capacity. If you want to move beyond the expectations placed on you, build evidence the expectation cannot explain away. Confidence says, I belong here. Preparation says, and my work can stand. Skill is confidence you can repeat. There is a difference between feeling confident and being competent. Feeling confident can help you begin, but competence helps you endure. Competence means you can repeat value. You can solve the problem again. You can perform the skill under pressure. You can teach it, improve it, price it, defend it, or adapt it. Skill creates stable confidence because skill does not need constant emotional fuel. A skilled barber does not need to feel inspired to cut well. A skilled nurse does not need applause to read vital signs. A skilled electrician does not need a mood boost to respect wiring. A skilled writer does not wait for perfect inspiration before revising. A skilled teacher can adjust when students do not understand the first explanation. A skilled entrepreneur studies numbers, customers, operations, and offers. A skilled parent learns how to correct without crushing. Skill is confidence you can repeat. This is important because some people want confidence without practice. They want to feel powerful before they have submitted to training. They want the stage without rehearsal, the business without bookkeeping, the title without responsibility, the voice without study, the influence without character, the wealth without financial habits. That path produces fragile confidence. Fragile confidence needs constant praise. It collapses under correction. It avoids rooms where it might be exposed. It performs more than it produces. Strong confidence welcomes training because training creates evidence. Ask what skill would make me more confident within 12 months? What skill would increase my income? What skill would improve my family life? What skill would strengthen my health? What skill would make my purpose more useful? Then practice until the skill becomes part of you. Confidence and humility. Some people confuse confidence with arrogance because they have only seen loud insecurity. True confidence and humility can live together. Confidence says, I have value. Humility says, I still have more to learn. Confidence says, I can contribute. Humility says, I am not the only one with wisdom. Confidence says, I will not shrink to make others comfortable. Humility says, I do not need to dominate to prove I belong. Confidence says, my gifts matter. Humility says, my gifts must serve. People of African descent are sometimes pressured into false humility. They may be told not to be too proud, too direct, too ambitious, too visible, too excellent, too expensive, too educated, too spiritual, too outspoken, or too sure. Some of that pressure comes from outside systems. Some of it can come from family or community environments where survival taught people to avoid standing out. But shrinking is not humility. Hiding gifts is not humility. Undercharging because you fear being judged is not humility. Pretending not to know what you know is not humility. Letting unqualified people name your limits is not humility. Humility is truth. If you are gifted, admit it. If you are untrained, admit that too. If you are ready, move. If you are not ready, prepare. If you need help, ask. If you can help, serve. Confidence without humility becomes ego. Humility without confidence becomes self-erasure. You need both. Real-world example. Misty Copeland began ballet at 13, an age often considered late for classical ballet training. Yet through training, discipline, visibility, and persistence, she became a principal dancer at American Ballet Theatre in 2015, the first woman of African descent to be promoted to that position in the company's 75-year history. Her story matters because ballet has long carried narrow assumptions about body type, race, access, beauty, and tradition. Copeland did not wait for the art form to become fully fair before training seriously. She entered a demanding world, developed excellence, and then used her platform to widen imagination for others. This is confidence without permission. It is not simply saying, I deserve to be here. It is training until your presence becomes evidence. It is knowing that tradition is not always truth. It is understanding that being unusual in a room does not mean being unqualified. It is refusing to let someone else's limited imagination become the boundary of your body, art, or future. Many readers will know this feeling in their own fields. Being the only person of African descent in a meeting. Being the first in a family to attend college. being the only melanated person in a professional program, being the youngest person in the room, being the oldest person starting over, being the one with an accent, a different background, a different story, a different way of seeing. In those moments, do not rush to disappear. Prepare. Breathe. Remember your proof. Do the work. You may be the evidence someone else needs. Stop asking unqualified people for permission. A major part of confidence is knowing whose voice deserves weight. If you are building a business, do not let people with no business experience become the final judges of your business dream. If you are getting healthy, do not let people committed to unhealthy habits shame your discipline. If you are saving money, do not let reckless spenders mock your boundaries. If you are healing, do not let emotionally avoidant people call your growth doing too much. If you are studying your ancestry, do not let people disconnected from their own roots ridicule your seriousness. If you are raising your standards, do not let people who benefited from your old lack of boundaries define your new confidence as arrogance. Unqualified voices may still offer useful observations, but they should not hold final authority. Create a council of qualified voices, people with character, people with evidence, people who have built something, people who tell the truth without trying to possess you, people who understand your purpose, people who can correct you without humiliating you, people who can celebrate you without flattering you, people who are not threatened by your growth. Confidence grows faster in the presence of wise mirrors. A wise mirror reflects both your capacity and your blind spots. It does not inflate you. It does not shrink you. It helps you see clearly. Rejection is not a verdict. Rejection hurts. Do not pretend it does not. The denied application, the unanswered message, the failed audition, the lost contract, the closed door, the dismissive meeting, the unsupportive family member, the relationship that ended, the customer who chose someone else, the investor who passed, the institution that said no. These moments can hit the nervous system hard, but rejection is not always a verdict on value. Sometimes rejection means you were not ready. Sometimes it means the room was not honest. Sometimes it means the timing was wrong. Sometimes it means the fit was poor. Sometimes it means the decision maker lacked vision. Sometimes it means your preparation needs improvement. Sometimes it means protection. Sometimes it means redirection. The confident person does not ignore rejection. They study it. Ask, was there feedback I can use? Did I prepare well? Was this room aligned with my purpose? Do I need more skill, better timing, stronger relationships, clearer communication, or a different strategy? Is this a closed door or a signal to build my own? If you turn every rejection into identity, you will stop moving. If you turn every rejection into information, you will grow. People of African descent cannot afford to treat every no as final. Too many doors were historically closed by design. Our ancestors survived because they learned how to create doors, side doors, schools, churches, businesses, mutual aid societies, newspapers, farms, routes, organizations, and movements. Rejection may hurt, but it does not get to name you. The confidence of starting small, many people avoid beginning because they are embarrassed by small starts. They want the polished brand before the first customer. They want the large audience before the first post. They want the perfect body before the first walk. They want the full business plan before the first sale. They want the complete healing before the first honest conversation. They want the masterpiece before the first draft. But almost everything meaningful starts smaller than the ego prefers. Small starts are not shameful, they are laboratories. A small workshop teaches you what people need. A small savings goal teaches consistency. A small product teaches pricing. A small class teaches communication. A small garden teaches patience. A small reading group teaches community rhythm. A small workout teaches the body to trust movement. A small business teaches systems before scale. Confidence grows when small action becomes repeated evidence. Do not despise the beginning because it does not yet match the vision. A seed does not look like the harvest, but it contains instructions. Begin where you are with seriousness. Real-world example. Gordon Parks was born into poverty and segregation in Fort Scott, Kansas, in 1912. The Gordon Parks Foundation records that he bought a camera at a pawn shop and taught himself how to use it. He later became one of the most influential photographers of the 20th century, a filmmaker, writer, composer, and humanitarian whose work documented American life, poverty, civil rights, and social conditions. Parks is a powerful example because he did not begin with perfect access. He began with a tool, curiosity, hunger, and practice. He developed an eye. He developed a voice. He used photography as more than a profession. He used it as a way to reveal truth. Confidence without permission often begins like that. You may not have the ideal equipment. You may not have the perfect mentor. You may not have the expensive program. You may not have the right room yet, but what do you have? What tool can you start with? What skill can you teach yourself? What problem can you study? What story can you tell? What practice can you repeat until opportunity recognizes you? Parks called the camera a weapon against poverty, racism, and social wrongs. The larger lesson is that a tool in disciplined hands can become a voice. Your tool may be a camera, laptop, sewing machine, barber chair, spreadsheet, garden bed, classroom, kitchen, microphone, legal pad, stethoscope, code editor, wrench, or prayer room. Do not wait for permission to begin practicing with the tool you have. Imposter feelings. Many capable people experience imposter feelings. They enter a new level and wonder whether they belong. They fear being exposed. They compare their inside uncertainty to everyone else's outside polish. They assume others know something they do not. They minimize their own work and overestimate the ease of others. These feelings can be especially strong for people of African descent in spaces where representation is thin or standards are applied unevenly. When you rarely see people like you in a room, your mind may ask whether your presence is accidental. When your mistakes are magnified, you may feel you have no room to learn. When you carry family hopes, community expectation, and personal ambition together, pressure can become heavy. The answer is not to pretend you feel no doubt. The answer is to ground yourself in evidence and preparation. Say, I may be new, but I am learning. I may feel pressure, but I am not powerless. I do not have to know everything to belong in the learning process. My presence here is not a mistake. I will ask questions, study, prepare, and contribute. Feeling uncertain does not mean I am unqualified. Imposter feelings often fade when competence grows, so keep building competence. Ask better questions, study the standards, find mentors, document wins, practice the skill. Learn the language of the room without surrendering your identity. You do not need to become someone else to belong. You need to become more fully prepared as yourself. Confidence in pricing and asking confidence has economic consequences. A person who lacks confidence may undercharge for their services, avoid negotiation, accept poor treatment, refuse to apply for better roles, hide their work, or apologize for wanting fair compensation. This is not only personal. It affects households and communities. If skilled people of African descent consistently undervalue their labor, wealth is drained before it can be built. Learn to ask. Ask for the raise. Ask for the contract terms in writing. Ask for the sale. Ask for the referral. Ask for the meeting. Ask for the mentorship. Ask for the investment. Ask for the opportunity. Ask for the price that reflects the value. Asking does not guarantee receiving. But refusing to ask guarantees many closed doors stay closed. Prepare your ask. Know your value. Know the market. Know your numbers. Know the problem you solve. Know the result you create. Know the minimum you can accept. Know when to walk away. Confidence in asking is not begging. It is clear communication of value. Practice saying my fee for this work is. Based on the scope, the investment is. I am requesting compensation aligned with these responsibilities. Here are the results I have produced. I would like to discuss a path toward. That rate does not match the value or scope of the work. I am not available for that arrangement. At first, your voice may shake. Let it shake and ask anyway. Confidence often grows after the mouth survives the sentence. The confidence circle. Confidence grows in environments that reinforce courage and responsibility. Create a confidence circle. This can be the same group as your accountability circle or a smaller set of trusted people. The purpose is to help each person build evidence. Meet once or twice a month. Each person answers, what did you do that required courage? What skill are you developing? What proof did you create since we last met? Where did you shrink, and what will you do differently? What ask, application, conversation, or action will you complete before the next meeting? The circle should not become empty praise. Praise can encourage, but evidence transforms. Celebrate action, challenge avoidance, share resources, practice pitches, review resumes, read drafts, watch presentations, role-play negotiations. Pray together if that fits the circle. Hold each other to higher standards without humiliation. Many people do not need more hype. They need structured encouragement. Confidence grows when courage has witnesses. Teaching children confidence. Children do not build confidence only from compliments. They build confidence from skill, responsibility, love, correction, and opportunities to overcome appropriate difficulty. Tell children of African descent they are brilliant, beautiful, capable, and worthy. Say it often, but also teach them how to prove things to themselves. Let them learn practical skills. Let them solve problems. Let them speak in complete thoughts. Let them ask questions. Let them make age-appropriate decisions. Let them experience correction without humiliation. Let them see adults apologize. Let them learn money. Let them learn history that includes genius and resistance. Let them practice public speaking. Let them help cook, fix, build, organize, plant, read, budget, research, and serve. Let them see melanated adults doing serious work. A child who is only praised may become dependent on applause. A child who is praised, trained, corrected, and trusted with responsibility develops confidence with roots. Households should become confidence schools, not places where children are inflated beyond reality, but places where they are taught identity, skill, manners, courage, spiritual grounding, economic awareness, emotional language, and service. The next generation does not need fragile self-esteem. They need strong self-trust. The evidence ladder. Use an evidence ladder to build confidence in any area. Step 1. Learn. Read, watch, ask, study, and observe. Step 2. Practice privately. Try the skill where mistakes are safe. Step 3. Practice with support. Let a trusted person observe and offer correction. Step 4. Perform at a small level. Teach a small class, sell a small offer, apply for a smaller role, publish a short piece, speak to a small group. Step 5. Review and improve. Ask what worked, what failed, and what needs refinement. Step 6. Repeat with higher stakes. Increase the audience, price, difficulty, responsibility, or visibility. Step 7. Teach or mentor. When you can help someone else begin, your confidence deepens. This ladder removes mystery. Confidence is not a cloud that may or may not descend. It is built by climbing evidence one rung at a time. This week's work, this chapter, becomes real when you create evidence. Set aside 1 hour this week and complete the following. Write a proof list with at least 25 pieces of evidence from your life. Identify one area where you have been waiting for emotional permission. Choose one skill that would strengthen your confidence within 12 months. Create an evidence ladder for that skill. Make one ask you have been avoiding. Stop seeking advice from one unqualified voice. Keep one promise to yourself every day for 7 days. Confidence does not need to become loud this week. It needs to become proven. Declaration: I do not need permission to become what purpose requires of me. I welcome wise counsel, correction, training, and preparation, but I will not hand my future to fear, rejection, unqualified opinions, or rooms that cannot see me clearly. I build confidence through evidence. I keep promises to myself. I practice until skill becomes proof. I ask with clarity. I start small without shame. I stand in my identity as a person of African descent with dignity, discipline, and responsibility. Closing thought: the sixth law of melanated success is this: build confidence from evidence, not approval. Approval may come, applause may come, recognition may come. But if those things become the root of your confidence, then anyone who withholds them can shake you. Build deeper, build with practice, build with study, build with small kept promises, build with honest correction, build with skill. Build with courage repeated until the mind has proof. When confidence is built this way, it becomes quieter, stronger, and harder to steal. You no longer need every room to welcome you before you prepare. You no longer need every person to understand before you begin. You no longer need perfect conditions before you move. You carry evidence with you, and evidence gives the soul somewhere solid to stand.